Hi, welcome to Adventures in Bonsai. Today we're going to take a look at diagnosing sphagnum moss when it gets a little too old and too decomposed and when it needs to be changed and the plants need to be repotted. Let's go take a look. This is my Myers lemon bonsai. As you can see, got some nice fruit growing on it, pretty good sized. The plant itself, however, is not really thriving. I mean, it's got leaves and they're doing okay. So I began to look at it yesterday and said, wow, how's this sphagnum moss doing in here? And I started to look at it and touch it, and I could see that it's just like, it's kind of crumbling and falling apart. Let's go look and see what it Here's the dried sphagnum moss. As you can see, it's got this nice tan brownish color and certainly doesn't have that black color the other stuff had. I'm going to wet it down now. And here's the wet sphagnum moss, but certainly looks pretty good now compared to the other stuff that's in the pot. Let's go see what's going on in the pot. Okay, let's take it out and see what's happening. Well, it's a little root bound, but it's got this dark color to the sphagnum moss. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to wash out all this old sphagnum moss with a hose. Should come out pretty easily. I'm going to try to save some of this moss that's around here that I can use over again. And we're going to clean this thing up and then repack it with sphagnum moss. Now, there's a little risk involved in this because this plant has fruit on it, and I don't know how it's going to do to this kind of a shock. But we're going to give it a try and see what happens. So I'm going to go and wet this thing down and clean it up. Okay, it cleaned out pretty easily. A lot of the sphagnum moss fell out in clumps. I'm not real worried about leaving some sphagnum moss in there because it's not like leaving dirt or chips in there. So this is cleaned up fine. Now I'm just going to repot. I'm not cutting any of the roots. I want to keep everything in there. It doesn't have that much top foliage. So now I'm just going to replant it and we'll take it from there. As usual, a base of sphagnum moss in the pot. So I have this root ball here encased in sphagnum moss. I'm going to sit it in here, try not to knock off the oranges, and replant this. I'll be back. Okay, the plant's situated in the pot. Now, I learned something from one of our viewers called Dutch803. He's a sphagnum moss enthusiast since he saw this show, and he's invented an interesting little tool. I used to use chopsticks to push down and get the sphagnum moss near the rim of the pot, but it's such a small item. He came up with the idea of using something like this. It looked like a painting brush that had been cut off, and by using this to push down, you can cover a lot more area in one shot, and it works really nice. Now, I did go to the dollar store and try to get some paintbrushes, but they were made of plastic, and when I cut them I found out they were hollow inside, so they're no use. I also found a paint mixing board, which is also not such a bad idea if you don't have a piece of wood. But then this morning I found this piece of wood. I just cut it down and shaped it up a little with a sander, and now I'm able to push this stuff in, and you can really feel how empty it is under there and how this needs to be done. It's a great little tool. Thank you, Dutch. And I advise you to watch Dutch's videos. They're pretty interesting. Like I said, it's Dutch803, all one word. I'll write that down on the screen for you. And in the meantime, I'm going to work on finishing this up a little, though I have a bee crawling around my camera. Let me see if I can turn this off without getting... Okay, so that's it. I do have this bee walking around on here. The plant itself, I think, is looking pretty decent now. Hopefully it'll start to recover and get a little bit more new growth and feel a little healthier. Have fun with your bonsai. As a quick PS on this one, this is the old sphagnum moss. And when you look at it, you'll see it's dark. It doesn't have the same texture the other stuff does. It's decomposing, and it's just getting old. So sometimes you got to replace it, and it's nice to use some nice new sphagnum moss. Okay, take it easy.